There will soon be some new Otsutsuki headed towards the planet of Naruto after the most awaited battle of chapter 1, and the reasons involved make too much sense. These new characters could become the next big villains of the story after the defeat of Kawaki, and it would be safe to say that there have been teasers of new Otsutsuki scattered all over the verse. We have the mystery statues, the missing stone tablets, the puzzle of Jashin, the secret of the Uzumaki clan, and much more. The Jougan could be the entry point of all the new Otsutsuki in the story, and here is why I think it works. Earlier, when Momoshiki and Kinshiki were about to land on Earth, they had some conversations which gave us an idea on how they were able to sense the planet. They discussed an abnormality in Kaguya's world, specifically mentioning that the space curvature of the planet exceeds 16 when it should not surpass 10. This gets noted in episode 15, where Kinshiki observed substantial tears in Kaguya's world, indicating a distortion in space-time. The context suggests that this curvature is a measure of chakra concentration or energy density on the planet, which is unusually high due to the presence of powerful chakra sources like Naruto and Kurama. The tears refer to the cracks in the fabric of space-time, likely caused by this excessive chakra, which Momoshiki finds intriguing as it indicates that Kaguya failed her mission by betraying Ishiki, which violates the laws of the clan. This high curvature implies that the chakra levels of the planet are making it suitable for harvesting, as the Otsutsuki typically target planets when their curvature reaches 10 for chakra fruit production. So what does this prove? Well, the Otsutsukis can sense when a particular point in the galaxy is concentrated with too much chakra, and if I'm not mistaken, they must figure out the location of the planet once Boruto activates the Jougan as well. Now, why do I think so, and would it actually make sense for them to track the chakra produced by the Jougan? More importantly, can the Jougan actually make a difference in space-time fabric if it gets awakened by a mortal? Well, that might not make sense at first, so let me break it down in the best way possible. Just like the ninja system, the Otsutsuki clan also has a fixed hierarchical system, and while they haven't officially revealed to us which Otsutsuki stands where, but we can do the speculations based on the roles assigned to multiple members. At the very bottom, we have the sacrificial Otsutsuki. They are usually the lower ranking pair who are sent to a planet to cultivate a god tree. Their primary purpose is to be fed to the Ten Tails to produce a chakra fruit. This sacrifice is a core part of the Otsutsuki will, ensuring the evolution of the clan and their power growth. In most cases, it's a consensual process, as seen with Kinshiki, who let himself die to enhance the powers of Momoshiki. In case of Kaguya, even though she was supposed to be the sacrifice which would have allowed Ishiki to evolve, her betrayal came as an unexpected twist, making her an imposter among the Otsutsuki. So the sacrificial Otsutsuki is considered the lowest rank because their life is expendable to achieve the clan's goals. They are subordinate to their partner, who oversees the cultivation process. Their power level can vary, but they are typically less powerful than their partner. Then we have the higher ranking Otsutsuki of a duo. They usually oversee the growth of the god tree as well as the chakra fruit harvest. By planting and protecting the Ten-Tailed seed and managing the sacrifice, they are typically more powerful and hold an authority over the sacrificial Otsutsuki. Their role is to ensure the mission of the clan succeeds, and they may gain significant power by consuming the chakra fruit or their partner's chakra, just like what Momoshiki did with Kinshiki. However, their rank is still below the clan's elite, such as the potential kings or higher authorities. As for the next ranking members of the clan, we have the Otsutsuki kings and queens. So while there was no confirmation in the Naruto or Boruto manga, but there have been some clues in the story, such as the statues resembling a king and a queen in Kaguya's dimension. The first statue resides in the fire dimension, while the second one can be found in the ice dimension. The fact that someone made these statues only signifies that these entities must have held a noble position in the clan. We might soon see them make an appearance once we reach the endgame of the story. Now, as for the final rank of the Otsutsuki hierarchy, we have the status of an Otsutsuki god. So far, the only entity who has been explicitly referred to as a god is Shibai Otsutsuki. He achieved this form after consuming countless chakra fruits for centuries, which gave him immense power and strength, surpassing every Otsutsuki in history. The divine abilities that he unlocked includes the omnipotence, prescience, and reflection, making him the most powerful character of the verse. Now here is how it gets interesting. Just imagine if Shibai out of nowhere appears on planet Earth. There is no way it won't affect the space curvature to an extent that it would send shockwaves through the entire Otsutsuki clan. Kinshiki could find an imbalance just because of the Biju chakra. There is no way an entire godlike being, or let's say a literal Otsutsuki god appearing on a random planet, would not alert the clan. Now, even though that's far from happening based on how Shibai doesn't exist in this universe anymore, what if someone gets a hand on one of his most powerful abilities, which can only be unlocked after entering the higher dimension? I'm talking about the Jougan, which was teased not once but twice in the manga. First, it was the first chapter where we got to see a totally different kanji when this eye got activated. And second, it was this panel of a hypothetical Otsutsuki god which was revealed to us when Ishiki was disclosing his will to Code. I think this is how an Otsutsuki looks once he enters a higher plane of existence where the requirement of a physical body is not needed. And if that's the case, then one thing is clear, that the Jougan can only be unlocked by an individual after entering this realm. In other words, all the dojutsu of an Otsutsuki get purified once he enters this dimension, turning all his eyes into the pure eye. Now coming back to the main topic, since Boruto can be seen using the power of an Otsutsuki god at will in the flash forward sequence, there is no way the higher ups of the clan wouldn't be knowing this. And it's not just some blind assumption. Urashiki already said to Toneri that the main clan has seen everything, like what he did to Boruto and all. This means the Otsutsuki clan is keeping an eye on these unusual activities which are taking place on Earth, and once the right time comes, they will definitely intervene to stop things from going too far. Just like when they destroyed the Uzumaki clan, as their Fuinjutsu could have evolved to become troublesome, which might have caused the clan a lot of things in the future. It's just a theory, but it explains the capability of the actual prescience that some Otsutsuki may have used to see a future where the Uzumaki become a huge threat. So that may be why they kill them in advance, and once they see Boruto with the power of an Otsutsuki god, it might make him appear troublesome to the clan, as teased by Urashiki in the anime. So now let's move on to how exactly I think the Jougan would bring more enemies to the story. We know for a fact that the time skip battle between Boruto and Kawaki is not the end of their story. There are a number of setups which could take the form of the next big thing, such as the missing Otsutsuki tablets, Amado's daughter, the remains of Shibai Otsutsuki, and so on. But we still need a sort of bridge that connects the new Otsutsuki plot to the battle between Boruto and Kawaki. It cannot be something like the Shinju evolved and became Otsutsuki, which attracted the other Otsutsuki, cause if that was the case, then they should have arrived by the time this battle takes place. So there is something hidden in this fight itself that could become a major connecting dot between the two events, and I think it must be the Jougan, an eye which is only attainable in the higher plane of existence, which would alert the upper heads of the Otsutsuki, as this awakening may be a sign of some prophecy. Now it gets really interesting from here, so I hope you subscribe, or double check if you are subscribed or not. Just like how most of the Boruto plot is filled with prophecies and predictions, I think there will be one such prophecy about Boruto made in the cosmos, something like there will be a wielder of a power that only the Otsutsuki gods possess, and once he activates it at will, he would get in notice of the Otsutsuki clan, who could send their members to deal with him. The number one reason for the prophecy thing to become a reality comes from the fact that the prescience ability takes in account all the possibilities that are likely to happen in the future. Even though Kashin Koji is not that good at it, the Otsutsuki clan must have such members who excel at using this ability, and they might have seen Boruto becoming troublesome to their clan after unlocking the Jougan. So once he activates it, the Otsutsuki would naturally sense him, as it would put too much weight on the fabric of space-time. Well, we already had Urashiki who noticed this eye and called it troublesome, and while he wasn't specifically after this power, the fact that he saw it as a nuisance makes it clear that it's actually troublesome to the entire clan. Also, it was a premature awakening. He didn't use it at will to show off some miracles that can only be performed by an Otsutsuki god. The whole idea behind the Jougan must be to make Boruto capable of fighting enemies who cannot be handled with other abilities. In simple words, he will be using the pinnacle of Otsutsuki power to take down the entire clan, and that may be the ultimate will of Shibai, who wants to put an end to the ruthless endeavors of his clan. After actually using some powers of this eye, he would get in radar of multiple Otsutsuki who could land on the planet to prevent him from going too far. What's more interesting is that this endgame phase of the story would make a majority of the characters irrelevant, since there is no way for them to fight Otsutsuki level threats. The whole Shinju arc could show us the growth and importance of these characters, such as Sarada, Mitsuki, and Team 10. But I'm pretty sure that they would all have been sealed by the time some new Otsutsukis would appear to steal the show. It's also one of the best ways to redeem Kawaki. If the new Otsutsuki interrupt their battle from the flash forward, Kawaki would have no choice but to shake hands with Boruto for a while in order to defeat the new enemies, which in this case could be the entire Otsutsuki clan. It would also align with his goals that he has already mentioned in the early chapters, the destruction of the entire Otsutsuki clan and destroying them with their own powers. But what he didn't take into account was the possibility of foes who would be more powerful than him, and that brings us to the reunion of the Kama wielders, with Kawaki realizing at the end that Boruto's way of doing things is far better than his own. So the Jougan's awakening acting as a magnet to new enemies becomes a plausible possibility. But what's more interesting is the true reason behind how the Pure Eye would be so troublesome to the Otsutsuki clan. Well, first off, it runs in the blood of the Uzumaki to become an arch nemesis of the Otsutsuki. Their sealing techniques were so powerful that they got mysteriously vanished from history, and the narrative which was revealed in the original story is not that satisfactory. So assuming the Otsutsuki somehow got rid of the Uzumaki, they would yet again run into one of their successors who would finally put a seal to their dirty actions. The Jougan's role here could be to use the powers of an Otsutsuki god to punish his clan from committing evil. Shiva, after attaining godhood, must have unlocked a saint-like stature which allows him to balance the good and evil in the universe. And since he can't himself reform the universe, likely because the Otsutsuki are immune from omnipotence, meaning even if he creates a new universe, the existing Otsutsuki would simply get transferred there and would continue their evil regimes. So just for the sake of putting an official ultimate end to the evil in his clan, he must have chosen Boruto and tested him with a lot of different trials to prepare him for the ultimate mission, with the Jougan being an anchor that would allow him to successfully fulfill this mission. You can check out more such theories by clicking on these videos. I will see you next time.